A number of people have asked me how I record my videos, and so I thought that a short how-to on that would be a good idea. Hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. As always, if you enjoy this content, why not consider a small donation through the coffee link in the description to fund future content. Thank you. Right, this video is the basics of OBS, or at least the basics of OBS, how I use it. Right, so I'm not saying that this is the perfect way or that it's the only way, but this is the way I use it. So OBS is the open broadcaster software. It's very good. It's free. It's available, as you can see, on Windows, Mac, and Linux. So it's suitable for all platforms that I think we use. You need to download the relevant one and install it in the usual way for your platform. Okay, so we've opened OBS now. Now, the way OBS works is very simple. You have the screen that shows you what is being captured. At the moment, this is getting a slightly strange appearance because it's capturing a picture of itself, which in itself is showing a picture of itself, and so on. So you wouldn't normally get this effect, but unfortunately there's no other way to demonstrate it. So you get the display of what is going to be recorded, and then you've got your scenes. Okay, and you can see I've got a couple of scenes. We'll create a new one to demonstrate. And then you've got your sources. Now the sources is the important thing, because the sources is what drives and derives what actually happens. Okay, so let's just create a new source. We'll call this demo source. Okay, we did that by just hitting the plus there. Okay, so now we've got a blank source. So you can see by default you get the microphone and also the desktop audio. Now, you can add to this source list, and that's important because otherwise you'll just end up with a blank screen like this. All right. So if you click on the plus sign for sources there, the first thing we need to do is we need to make sure we've got a display capture. So that's capturing the screen. Okay. So if I say main simulator screen, okay, and then you pick use automatic for the capture method, and then you pick whichever screen you want to use, and you can see there it's giving you the position of each screen, relatively speaking, and you can put multiple screens, so you can do things like, let's just put the primary monitor on. So this is the screen I used to run Explain. Okay. You can create second screens if you want. So I'm just going to name this one. But if I pick one of my other screens, there you go. So you can show another screen, and you can fettle it and put something on that screen, an instrument or the map or whatever, if you want to. Now what I've found is that has quite an effect on the performance of my computer, and so whilst I tried it for a bit, I've come to the conclusion in the end that the best way is simply to put everything I want to display on this one main screen. Okay, so we'll just get rid of that one. Okay, which then brings us to the sources, the sound sources. Okay, So you've got this one will record whatever's coming out of the computer. Okay, this one will record whatever's coming out of the of your microphone. Now, if you click on the three ellipses there, you'll see there's a properties, and then you get to pick your device. I'm using USB 4, which is my headset mic. Now, a word of warning: if you unplug your microphone source and plug it back in again, it is possible the computer will give it a different USB source. I've had a number of instances over time where I've recorded a bunch of stuff, recorded a load of speaking, and then come to the other end of it and discovered that there's no speaking on the recording because it was picking up from the wrong microphone. So it is worth just checking that. Now, I also have a number of other sources as well. So if I go for audio input capture, and I'm going to put headphones. Okay, so the headphones are again USB 4. Okay, so I use the headphones for air traffic control. So, you know, VATSim or whatever. Okay, now also got another audio input because I like to be able to control the editing quite narrowly. So if I go for another audio input capture, and we'll call that one earbuds. Okay, cool. Let's use somewhere else. Earbuds 2, and then I've got a little USB to 3.5mm jack adapter unit which is plugged in, and I have the earbuds in and then the headset on top, and the earbuds I use for TeamSpeak and for Discord if I'm having a conversation with someone whilst I'm flying and recording. Okay, now the reason I do that is so that if I can control what's on the recording and remove any unnecessary or needless conversation. Okay, if someone says something mildly inappropriate or coughs or is just having a conversation which isn't relevant to the video with someone else, I can remove that completely. Or indeed, if someone doesn't want to be heard, that's also, you know, easily achieved. Okay, I think that's all we need. Now you can see here, look, you can put an image. So if you had a, I don't know, a logo or something, you could put the logo on the recording as well if you wanted to. I tend not to. I tend to edit that in afterwards, but that is possible. Okay, and you can also see that there's lots and lots and lots of other options as well, which I've not really explored, but it's a really powerful tool. So there we've got the data sources. You've got the various different sources, but we've also got the mic audio and the desktop audio as standard as well, so they come by default. Okay, plus the other three. Now, one last thing to talk about just before we try a recording, and that is the settings for the audio. So the advanced audio settings here, if you click on this little cog, you'll see that you've got your 4 sound sources, desktop audio, the earbuds, the headphones and the mic augs. Okay, now at the moment, let's just get rid of all these tracks just for a second and we'll talk about this. Okay, so this, if you think about an MP4 or a MOV file, it's basically a container, and it contains all the different things that you've recorded. Right? So it will contain the video element of the recording, but it will also contain all of the sound components of the recording that you've made. Now in OBS you've got up to 6 tracks that you can record separately. Now the first thing that I learned was that you have to have track 1 with everything. Okay, and the reason for that is that if you try and play the recording on a media player and you haven't got the first track with everything recorded, then you won't hear any sound. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you're not bothered about hearing the sound in a media player, then don't worry about it. But if you're not planning to do any post-editing, or if you just want to check to make sure that it's worked, it's a good idea to have all the sound sources set to track 1. And what you can then do is pick track 2 for desktop audio, track 3 for earbuds, or whatever. So what I tend to do is track 2 for desktop audio, the mic augs goes on track 3, headphones on track 4, and earbuds on track 5. And I will illustrate, once we've recorded something, I'll illustrate how that works in the video editing software later. Right? But it is important that each sound track has its own unique, each sound source has its own unique track. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so track 1 is all of them. Track 2, I do desktop audio for track 2, and then the mic for track 3, headphones for track 4, and the earbuds for track 5. And that is simply because when it's laid out by the video editor, it'll come through as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you decide to delete what you don't need. And more often than not, all I need is desktop audio and the mic augs. If I'm on VATSim, I need desktop audio, mic augs and headphones, and if I'm flying with the club or doing something else collaborative, then I need all 4. Okay. Hit close. Now in terms of the recording then, so you've got 2 options of OBS. You can either stream or you can record. So we're going to record. So if we have a quick look at the settings for recording, if we go output, I use simple output. I can't remember whether this is default or not, but 160 audio bitrate, H.264 is the video encoder. If you don't use H.264, then you run into problems with compatibility, particularly if you're running on a non-Windows platform, and then you're going to supply it to someone who uses Windows. This H.264 is a well-established standard, and we can get ourselves into a right muddle with video encoding if we're not careful. I use P5, which is slow encoding, and that means you get good quality, so that's picking up a lot more from the output. There is slower, better quality, slowest, best quality, and then you go up to fastest, which is lowest quality. That's P1's quite rubbish. P7 has an effect on the performance of the computer, which I found to be too much. And also for YouTube, which is what we're talking about here, you don't need the slowest, best quality. But it does depend what you're doing. I use the AAC encoder for audio. I record to the video folder. I make high quality, medium file size. Again, you've got same as stream, which is a bit naff. High quality, which is fine. Indistinguishable quality, which is large files, and then lossless quality, which is tremendously large files, and they are huge. And again, given what we're doing, high quality medium files, that's fine. I use the Matroska MKV format. I think that's the default, and that's worked quite well. Works quite well. Again, H.264. Okay, I just noticed that this is all the streaming stuff. You don't need to worry about that. You need this one set up, and then AAC encoder. Make sure you've ticked all the boxes for audio tracks, otherwise it won't capture the sound, which is annoying. Replay buffer I've ignored. Okay, and I don't think I've made any other changes. I'm not even sure whether they're changes, to be honest. I got these settings from some other YouTuber, so they do work. Okay, so you just set that in OK, and that's the setup of OBS. It's as complicated as that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hit Start Record. Okay, when you're ready to record. Now I've got 3 screens, 2 landscape screens, one each side, and a portrait screen in the middle, 2 portrait screens, one each side, and a landscape screen which I fly on. I put OBS on the left hand landscape screen. You need to be able to see it just to make sure occasionally that it's still working if nothing's gone wrong. Okay, so that's the setup. The next thing is just to demonstrate it in use. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to now record a short flight, just so we've got something to work with, and then we'll talk about the editing process. Okay, I'll just put this out of the way for the moment. Right. Notice the new look Garmin 1000, which is rather nice. Throw the RV10 for a while. Okay. Always clear the cache after you've updated. Which I haven't done. What we got there? 22 we need. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do interesting.
Oh, there it is. Idiot. Different aeroplane. Okay, is what we're going to do is we're going to set track autofire on, set the track, and set the altitude. Hold. So what's it now in? It should be, it's not in anything, is it? Let's put it in heading mode. There you go. Now we're following track. Oh, interesting. So there's an issue with the autopilot, isn't there? With the autopilot display on the Garmin 1000. Okay, that's interesting. Right. So that's now settled into normal flight. So what you can now do is use your simulator's camera settings. To give you, you know, whatever view you want, really. Rather nice, isn't it, to be fair? Okay, that's interesting. That's a bug, isn't it? I'd say. Okay, so if I change the heading, then the aircraft will follow. Close that. How about that? Okay, so that's enough of that, I think. We'll just quit explain then, and then we're going to have a quick conversation about editing. Now, if you're doing this recording and supplying it to someone else for editing, then you don't need to worry about the next bit. Okay, let's get rid of all this stuff. So, I use DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is free. You can get a paid-for version, but that provides features that are so complicated and specific to industry needs that I think it's unlikely you would ever need it. That's not DaVinci Resolve. That's the first thing you need to watch. That magic design, DaVinci Resolve, is people trying to sell you things that's not DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve, free download. You can buy the studio version, but you don't need to buy the studio version. Okay. And if we open DaVinci Resolve, just for a second, you can see here, you can create a demo, a new project. And then what you're going to go is you're going to go to Media, and you're going to find so if I just go to content/videos, which is regularly used, that's where the installation stores all the backups and the information about the actual editing that you're doing. And these are the recordings. This is the recording I've just done. Okay, so if I pick that one, put that in the media pool, it's fine to change the frame rate, that's okay. If I then go to this one, the editor, which is where you can do pretty much everything, you then drag and drop that onto the timeline. Okay, and if you've got experience of editors, then this will look familiar to you. If not, then it will look a bit scary potentially, but it's fine. So you've got your one video, and if you think back to the OBS setup that we did, we just pull that window across, right? So this is the OBS setup. So everything's on track 1, so that's audio 1, right? So that's everything. So we select that and do Control X, because if you don't, you'll end up with double volume and everything. Okay, that's audio 2, which is, lost it again, audio 2, which is the desktop audio. Okay, that's audio 3, which is the talking, which looks about right, doesn't it? Audio 4 is coming through the headphones. I'm not entirely sure what that is, to be fair. And then the other two are just blank. Okay, so you can get rid of the other two. And then if we replay this, okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to now record a short flight. Oh, interesting. It's picking up. Oh, okay, never seen that before. It's bleeding through. Right, so now all you've got is the sound of the aeroplane. Okay, and if we were to turn that off, you wouldn't hear anything at all. If I were just to turn that one on, that's where the RV10 for a while. And you can, if we stop that, you can edit the volume by, so let's just, if I go back, just do that again. So you can edit the volume for the RV10 for a while by selecting the little line and going up and down. And we can increase the volume there if we want to as well. And then once you've got and you can use the editor to cut and paste and whatever. I know this isn't a tutorial on DaVinci Resolve. There's plenty of those around. Once you've done that, then you go to this deliver, Okay, and you select a location to store the video. Now I recommend using the videos and then, because it doesn't synchronize with anything, and then deleting it as soon as you've finished using it, unless you want to store it somewhere else and keep it, because they do get very large. Now across the top here are the different, it's the settings of the video. There's some useful presets. I just use the YouTube preset, alright, and then I would create an MP4. You can give it a name, and then we'll just call it timeline 1 for now. And then what we'll do is we've got it all set up. We say add to render queue, and then we render. And what that will do is generate the video. Okay. Which, when run, looks like that. Right. Okay, so what we're going. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and that's it. I mean, it is as complicated as that.
So there you go. I hope this was helpful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.